Hey guys, I'm back with you again today. I wanted to try and touch on this because I've stayed pretty quiet recently about my thoughts on Assassin's Creed Codename Red coming out later this year. And I figured I should probably make a video on it. If you're someone who knows me, you know that I don't like the RPG Creeds at all. And so the fact that this is gonna be one of those is a little upsetting to me. But even though it's coming out later this year, it's less than a year away from release at this point, even though this is true, we still don't know very much about it, and so I'm going to try as best I can not to be judgmental and just try and sort of say what I'm hoping for from the game and be realistic and try and do that in such a way that I think audiences will get and hopefully that we'll actually see in the game. As well as being realistic and trying not to expect that it's going to be the fucking second coming of Christ or anything. So, what are we hoping for? Well, I really do hope that this dual protagonist thing truly matters. That's my first hope. Because, in the previous ones where it's, choose Alexios or Cassandra or either of the two male or female versions of Eivor or whether it be Evie and Jacob Fry, there wasn't enough differences in any of their playstyles or any of their sort of dialogue that made it truly feel different. Now, in terms of their playstyles, we do know that's going to be different because the female character is going to be more focused on stealth, while the male character is going to be more focused on combat, which I'm fine with. I like both those playstyles, and I'm glad that what character you pick actually matters in terms of that way. The other thing that I hope, though, is that it's going to change their characters as well, that they're not going to stay the same type of character in terms of their personality. Because that's the other big problem I have with these RPG games. That the male and female character are simply choosing whether you want to be a man or a woman. They don't actually change how the character is presented in any way, which is a big issue in my opinion. So, how did they do that? Well, they changed the dialogue, they changed the tone it's set in, and they change what exact things happen in each of the game depending on what character you choose. Not only does that change their characters and make them each individuals, but it also gives the game more replay value. Alright, another thing I hope for. The stealth character is actually helpful. I really like the way they use this sort of system in Mirage where they give you tools to help you with stealth. I think that was done much better in Mirage than it was done in any other AC game we've had so far, especially because it combined the environmental stealth, the social stealth, and the tool stealth all in one, which hasn't ever been done before. And I hope that's something they bring back in Red and actually make it usable again. Because there's lots of environmental stealth in Mirage, there's lots of hay bales in Mirage, there's lots of things to hide behind in Mirage that make stealth viable. And I hope they do that again because the world's not going to change based off what character we choose, but their playstyles will. And so the playstyle that we choose should work. The environment should be suitable for whatever playstyle we choose to make. Whether we choose the stealth character or the combat character, it shouldn't matter for the environmental purposes. Another thing, level capping and grinding is reduced. This is something I stress in all my videos about these games, but the level capping and the grinding and the way the level systems are used are egregious in these RPG games. Again, someone who's a level or two above you dominates you, someone who's a level or two below you, easy. That shouldn't be the case. There should be a range, like they do in Valhalla. You know you're doing something wrong if I have to look for Valhalla as a good example. Where Valhalla actually has it where there's 30. There's 30 different places, right? Like, there's 30 level increments where it's like, if you're in these 30 levels, you're good. That you're likely to be able to beat whatever. You're likely to be able to do it without wanting to fucking kill yourself, basically. And I think that's good that they do that. So that should be a thing. That it should be a level range, not a specific level, because that's stupid. Again, level capping should be reduced. That, you should be able to just play through the main story if you want to. Side content probably isn't going to be great because they have to push out these games in an industrial scale. I'm just accepting that the side content is going to be boring and that I'm probably not going to want to play it. But if we don't want to play it, we shouldn't be forced to play it. That this content should truly be optional because we shouldn't get level capped in the main story. if you want to have these super hard missions as side content, that's fine, but they shouldn't be in the main story because we should be able to just play through the main story if we want to, like we could with the other games without a problem. Additionally, we need there to be less grinding. You know, in Witcher, if you have to do a piece of side content every once in a while, that's fine. If you have to do 3 or 4 side quests at a time, that's fine. But you don't need to grind. You don't need to, like, shoot the same goose for 2 hours straight in order to gain 4 levels so that you can progress in the main story. That's just bad writing. So, we need to see that, too. Something else I need from this game. I really need there to be a good story. That's the main reason I play these games. I don't play it mainly because of the gameplay, as much as some of you may think that's the case based on how I rank these games. But one of the most important pieces to these games, in my opinion, is the story. Something that Odyssey and Valhalla definitely failed to deliver on. The tonal inconsistencies in these games throw me every time. And so I wanted to touch on why that needs to change. These games are long-ass games. They are long grind fests. They are boring. They don't make you think. They don't make you consider. They don't have the same emotional impact as those earlier games did. The goal should be quality, not quantity. Alright, we shouldn't have to grind out fucking 40 cultists like we did in Odyssey and Valhalla just to reach the end battle. That shouldn't be a thing. It's not something other games do. It's not something that any of the other Assassin's Creed do, and so it's not something that this game should continue doing, that those other 2 games screwed up. So how do you do that and still make a good game? Well, you make the story relatively short. You make it like, you know, a 20 to 30 hour long main story. You put in plenty of side content to keep the player busy so that maybe there's, you know, 60 to 100 hours of content total. But the main story, unless you can truly make 50 or 60 hours of solid content, you should try not to do that. Because 90% of the content in Valhalla could have been side content, if we're going to be honest here. There's no reason a lot of that had to be in the main story. They just made us do it because they wanted us to do it. There was no real other reason. Then the last big thing I want to talk about is choices. Or how they should be more limited. In Odyssey and Valhalla, the choices were not done right because we were given a preset character with core character traits. I talked about this a lot more in my RPG Creeds video, but I'm going to give you a short explanation here. Basically, if you're going to do RPGs the way Assassin's Creed likes to do RPGs, where you give a preset character with core character traits, you have to make all of those choices align with those core character traits, otherwise the character isn't believable. Something they greatly failed to do in Odyssey and Valhalla, allowing you to do pretty much whatever you want, which doesn't make sense at all. So, basically, I'd prefer if there were no choices at all. But if it's a must, like they already designed the game this way and there has to be choices, they need to at least make sense. We need a character that isn't bland, we need a character that's interesting, and we need all of the core character traits to be shown. We need to see the core character traits, and we need the pieces of dialogue and all the options and dialogue options and choices you have to revolve around those core character traits, otherwise the character isn't believable. Alright, that's my thoughts on AC Red. If there's anything I missed, please feel free to tell me about it. I like suggestions, I like to see what people think. But other than that, that's about all I have today. I hope all y'all have a great day. Thanks, guys.